all the latest news from across non-league football. Online at backofthenetsouth.co.uk and broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitter and Facebook. This is Back of the Net News.
The top stories at 7 p.m. The Hartlepool Mail have reported that Raj Singh's Hartlepool United takeover is back on and could be completed in 2 days. Fresh talks between Singh and Pool's owner John Blackledge have taken place this morning, and hopes are high that the takeover could now be completed within 48 hours. Plans have been unveiled at Victoria Avenue for the new home of Guernsey football. The modern facility will serve as Guernsey FC's home ground and will also have a 3G training pitch made available for community use. The project is to be largely funded by the English FA. Torquay United owner Clark Osborne has confirmed that the club will remain full-time and professional whatever happens over the final 6 weeks of the season. A courageous 1-0 victory at Leyton Orient has set up a relegation showdown at Solihull Moors this weekend. And finally, Cray Wanderers chairman Gary Hillman says a return home for London's oldest football club will be a huge boost for the community. Plans for the ground have taken a huge step forwards after the London Borough of Bromley voted in favour of the Bostik South Club's proposals. The new facility at Flamingo Park, where a nightclub currently stands, will include a ground, community facilities and housing. That's the latest with me, Liam Heath.
It's 7 p.m. on Wednesday evening. It's time for the biggest non-league football debate in the country. Search official BOTN and get involved with tonight's show.
So, very good evening to you and welcome to the show tonight. Hope you're doing well this Wednesday. We're here through till 9 o'clock as always with plenty for you on tonight's show. We've got Mick Sullivan, Lee Dynam and Anthony Gale in the studio ready to discuss everything non-league football. We've got our non-league football quiz coming up as usual. Steve Holder, Mildenhall Town and Lewis Spence of Thurrock play super sub this evening. Tonight we're going to be talking all about consumption in football, how we consume football right the way down to non-league level. The guys in here ready to discuss it. You can get your thoughts on social media. All you need to do is get in touch with us. It's official BOTN. Let us know your thoughts.
Have your say. Get in touch on social media. Just search official BOTN.
So yeah, very good evening and welcome to tonight's show. Delighted to say that Lee, Anthony and Mick join us tonight. Evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Ben.
Nice to have you back, Mick, after a few weeks away from the show. We're going to start by talking about last night's games, and as always, it seems at this stage of the season, Mick, it's a crucial stage. We were at a game involving Leiston at the weekend, and they're making a real surge. I was going to say a late surge then, but they did well in the first part of the season. They're making a surge for the playoffs, and plenty of fascinating games last night in the Bostik Premier Division.
Yes, well, both me, Anthony and Lee were just talking about it before we went on air, how tight it is in both divisions, really, particularly in the sort of Prem and North. And, you know, I like the look of Leiston myself. Hopefully I pronounced it right. I always get it wrong. Well, yeah, it is Leiston, yeah. Leiston I fancy will get in there. And, of course, obviously, Leatherhead, I'm always going to be rooting for them. I fancy they could make a late run. Be interesting to see how well they do tonight. So perhaps we're keeping an eye on that scoreline against Needham Market. And, of course, in the South Division, looks like Anthony's going to pick that sixth spot, but he tells me he's not worried about Hive creeping up behind him.
We'll talk about the South in a moment. Just going back to the Premier Division, Stainstown last night, superb performance, Lee. I know you were there. They beat Hendon 4-0, and really that race for the playoffs is hotting up. Staines moved into fifth in the table, displacing Hendon. And you said when you came in, one of the best displays that you've seen all season from Staines.
It's the first time I've seen Staines this season, but it was very clinical in front of goal. They moved the ball well. Some good players there. Elliott's first goal, the first goal for Staines was a great bit of movement down the left side, and great finish. And they just put on a really good performance. If I'm being honest, Hendon are a very good team this year. Gary's got a good group there. He had a couple of key players missing from what I could see. Was on the bench, but you could take nothing away from Staines. I thought they were very, very impressive and at the right time in the season, really, last 5-6 weeks, and they look really strong, to be fair.
And after it was such a big game last night, I actually spoke to Gary McCann this morning. We tried to get him on tonight's show, and we almost did, But when I spoke to him this morning, you just wouldn't have known. Such a nice guy that he is, Mick, and how down to earth he is. Obviously a bad night for them last night, but we've spoken to Gary a few times this season, and he'll just still have his eye carefully on the rest of the season and where they can finish.
Gary, I've got to know Gary more so this season from working for Back of the Net, but Hayden's known him for many years, and I've never I've never heard a guy say a bad word about that bloke. You know what I mean? He's such a laid-back type of character. He's got his feet well and firmly, truly on the ground, and they had a bit of a bad season, and he's got over that. And one of the good people of football that you really hope that they do well, and he has got a decent side. And Nico Muir is obviously quality, but Nathaniel George is another quality player that I like in their team. And they're still in the race. It's such an exciting sort of season for the Bostik Prem this year. With maybe 8 or 9 teams. Not looked at the division just quite tightly today, but there's 8 or 9 teams there that are going for 5 or 6 spots. It's sort of like incredible. Can't wait.
Yeah, really close at the top of the table. Another game last night was a win in Suffolk for Gavin Rose's side, who moved 5 points clear of the top of the Bostik Premier Division as they beat Lowestoft Town 3-1. Of course, Billericay have 6 games in hand, but despite that, they can't do anything about that, Dulwich. And every time we speak to Gavin Rose, he does tell us, we're not looking at Billericay. They might have games in hand, but we're focused on our team, and all they can do is keep winning.
Got a lot of respect for Gavin. I mean, obviously, my work's been done in the south, but it's important I monitor what's going on within the Premier with Lee and the other boys, what's going on up there. And even when Gavin set out his stall when they were Bostik or Ryman Southside back then, he's stuck to his philosophy, he's stuck to what he's about. And you can see, I love what he's trying to say to his players in the respect of just focusing on what they're doing, because they're churning out results week in, week out. And Lee will tell you as well, Mick, being a manager, points on the board are better, obviously, than trying to gain those points with games in hand. And I think what he will be doing is, especially when Glenn looks at that table, it's applying pressure.
And Lee, we look at that table. Mick, you mentioned it. It's really close. It's hard to know where the cut-off point is. You'd probably say the cut-off point will be Leatherhead, just because of the amount of games in hand they've got. They're on 60 points. They're 6 points away from the playoffs, but they've got 3 games in hand on Staines, more on other teams. But that could be quite significant. I know managers always say they'd rather be with the points on the board, but if you're Leatherhead sitting there in 8th, 3 games in hand, 6 points away, fancy yourself?
I'd be surprised if Leatherhead are not in the playoffs, from what I've seen. Played them a couple of times, got some good players there. If you can keep them fit, I think he'd be in the playoffs. Same thing, we played Leaston the other week, and I speak to Gary all the time. I've known Gary for years at Hendon. They're good teams for this level. In this league this year, they're strong. You can't really write off, personally, from Staines, Hendon, Easton, Leatherhead. It's tight. It's going to be tight. But yeah, I would expect Leatherhead to be in the playoffs, if I'm being honest.
All season, we've remained professional. We've talked and tried not to talk around the table about who's going to go up, who we fancy. We've got to the stage now where most teams are on 36 or more games, apart from Billericay. It's that time of the season where all fans and managers and players of a football league can sit round and say, okay, who do we fancy now? Are we still saying that Billericay are going to win this division?
Personally, I think so. Yeah, I really.
And you were giving other teams a chance a few weeks ago.
I know, and we've made a lot of friends down Billericay, this coming season. But I fancy them to win it, and Dulwich, Dulwich could. Perhaps they've had their dip already, and perhaps they will now that second spot, which will give them home advantage. But will it be home advantage? So they'll be playing at Tooting, I presume. If so it's not really a home advantage in a way. But so I don't suppose whether Gavin minds whether he's going to finish second, third, or fourth, or whatever.
And I think Harry is on the show in one of the next 2 weeks, so we can put that question to him. And they'd have probably played about 6 games in 2 weeks by the time that we speak to him. So when we look at the playoffs, Folkestone, Margate and Staines in there at the moment. Massive game that we'll be covering on Saturday between Staines and Leiston. Who would you, Mick, have as your... If Billericay are going to win the league, who would you have in your playoffs at the moment?
Margate, most definitely. I think Steve Watt's done a fantastic job. They've come out up from the rails and got in there, and I think their momentum will carry it to keep them in there. Leiston are the team that I rate highly. I think they will be in there. So we're talking Billericay, Dulwich, Leiston, Can remind me. Come on, get me around it. That's
Sorry,
sort of thing. Sorry, mate. I'm fancying Billericay, Dulwich, Margate, Folkestone. I think will just stick in there.
So not Leatherhead for you.
Well, Leatherhead, I don't like to talk about Leatherhead.
You can't have more than 4 teams in the playoffs.
All right,
Mick.
okay. I'll have to take one of them out, but no.
Lee, for you, is that spot on? Would you put anyone else in there? You said you fancied Leatherhead. So do Hendon miss out?
To be fair, thinking about it, they could be the ones that might finish out. Sorry there, Lee.
Even with Nico Muir, they miss out.
It's not just Nico Muir. There's other players in Gary's squad that I think are key to him winning games. Casey McLaren, there's a player, there's a winner for you, centre of the park that they all missed, and he missed him last night. Billericay win the league. I thought they'd win it by 10 points. Said that a few months ago. The thing that they've got is they've got strength in depth. Players, they get too injured, it doesn't matter if they've got players there in the back, where a lot of clubs haven't. They lose 2 or 3 key players to injury, and it's hard to replace them. But Billericay have got that quality. So Billericay win it. I think Dulwich second. Folkestone I was impressed with. Just a great hard working team. Got some players that get goals as well. Margate, that 5th spot is I think Leatherhead. I mean, I like what I saw with Staines last night. Glenn at least is a very good manager, but Sank's telling me Leatherhead are going to be 5th.
Get in touch on Twitter if you want to let us know who you think are going to be in the playoff positions, and maybe you disagree with Billericay, even though they've got 6 games in hand, finishing top of the league. It's official BOTN. Anthony, your top 5. You might disagree that Billericay will win the league.
I've got to go, as I say, with what Lee was saying there, with the depth that Glenn's got and the amount of quality that he's got on the pitch and the ability to rotate at specific times over the rest of the season. You'd have to go with Billericay to win it. And the remaining places, I'm going to go with Dulwich, Folkestone, and 2 friends of mine that I want to see do well, with Stephen White and Sammy Moore, in Margate and Leatherhead. So that's more of a personal thing, wanting to see 2 of my friends do well and getting those playoff positions.
And you mentioned it, Nick, a big game. If Leatherhead are to do it, a big game tonight, home to Needham Market.
Yeah, I think it's a must-win. I think if they slip up tonight, that just puts a bit of added pressure on them, I feel. And the others will likely take advantage of that and see that they can slip up. At the minute, I think this will be their 6th game unbeaten. So a lot riding on tonight.
Big division as well, and big competition in the Bostik North last night. It was a bitter blow for second place Bowers and Pitsea as they suffered a 2-0 away defeat at the hands of 9th place Barking. The home side only 3 points from the playoffs, with 55 points, took the lead on 65 minutes after a well-worked and patient build-up that allowed Albert Levitt to strike with a well-driven drive to beat Callum Schaefer. Barking took the 2-0 lead on 79 minutes as Billy Jones scored. It was a blow for Bowers and Pitsea. At the top of that division, AFC Hornchurch 10 points clear, now with a game in hand on second place Bowers and Pitsea, and that game is on Friday night. Hornchurch play second place Bowers and Pitsea, so it's going to be a really intriguing game. You'd say that AFC Hornchurch with that lead at this stage of the season, Mick, Lee, would be enough?
Yeah, I would have thought so. They're funny enough, I spoke to Olu today, who was with me at Whiteleaf, who's gone to Hornchurch, and they're very confident to hopefully pull it to bed on Friday night. If they win that, it should be game over really. So I can't see them losing the league.
Of course, it's always nice this season because of the changes. You've got 2 teams that go up in the north and the south. It just adds that little bit more excitement if you've got a leader. And I think if we had it, Mick, in the Premier Division, it would be really exciting for those teams chasing Billericay to be able to get another automatic spot. Most
definitely, first season in a long while. Well, 2 automatic spots going up, which is brilliant. Love seeing the promotions for these teams, and right the way down to step 5 included. Nice to see that there's some extra teams going to get an opportunity to play at a level that they all aspire to. But just quickly looking at that, our old friend there, keeping quiet, Jody, Hayford Swiss, won last night. They're sneaking up there, and I would say I never thought they would do it, and I don't think he did. But he's been quietly confident, Jody, I think, and I think they might sneak in there.
32 games played, Haybridge Swifts, which is at least 3 games in hand. It's more than that for most teams. Dereham Town, they're 3 games in hand on Dereham. They're 55 points. 58 would take them into the playoffs. So similar situation to that of Leatherhead, and probably a better position for them. They really could do it, Haybridge.
We played 2 teams in that division this year. We played them in a trophy in the cup. We played Canvey Island and Malden Chiptree. But Malden I was extremely impressed with. I think the minute, and it's very rarely I say this year, because I think in a lot of games we've been the better side, but I've got to hand it to Malden Tiptree. They were a better side on the day. The boy that was up front, I believe he's gone.
Junior, he's gone to Colchester, yeah.
He really, with my 2 lads, Max Huswick and Joe Hicks, I don't think they've had a harder game this year. I mean, the lad he's a special talent, and I know Kevin thought a lot of him. And he caused us problems that day, and they deserve to beat us. And the other, on the other flip side of that, Canvey Island come to our place. Although we won the game 3-0, there wasn't a lot in it. It was one of those games that was going to go either way, but impressed with both of them this year. Impressed with both sides.
One other big game last night in the Bostik North saw Malden and Tiptree go down 4-2 to Potters Bar Town. Potters Bar Town, of course, in 3rd position. They've got 70 points, just 3 points away from Bowers and Pitsea now in 2nd, and they have a game in hand. So that was a really pivotal results last night. Malden and Tiptree are on 58 points. They're outside the playoffs on goal difference, but of course Haybridge Swifts, and you would say now Barking, chasing down Malden and Tiptree to try and get into those playoff positions. Fascinating in the Bostik North, and if you thought it was fascinating in that division, then we move on to the South and Anthony's league. Last night saw one game. VCD Athletic nil, Corinthian Casuals 1. Big result for Corinthian Casuals. It takes them into 2nd place, but the Chasing Pack do have games in hand. How do you dissect, Anthony? I'll come to you first. The South is just that little bit closer. When you actually look at it, AFC Hornchurch should win the North. We've got a big game tonight, Lewis and Carshalton, but everything is up for grabs in the Bostik South.
I think you can look down now from 8th place up to top, and it's extremely tight. I mean, those top 2 positions, I think that a lot of people are saying the same thing. Lewis are doing it, they're scoring late, they keep nicking points, they keep nicking wins, but that's the sign of championship winners for me. I mean, we went there and they scored late on in the 95th minute. We thought we'd done enough to win the game, but they found a way once again to get a point. And Corinthian Casuals, another side, go to VCD last night and they go and win the game. You got to hand it to Brax. I mean, he's doing it with no budget. He's done an outstanding job, absolutely magnificent job over the last couple of years, and they're getting momentum at the right time. I think 7 consecutive wins now. If we looked at that league probably 3-4 weeks ago, there was about 2-3 points between 6th all the way up to 2nd. Now it's starting to open up a little bit, and for me, I think Lewis win the title. I do. I think they win the title, and don't want to make a prediction this evening. I think it's a tough game to call between Lewis and Carshalton, because Pete will go there and try and play football, and as I say, they got their home advantage, Lewis, but that will be a great game, I think, on the eye. And it takes a brave man, to be honest, to call that top 2, because you look at it there, you got Carshalton that are tight, Cray, Greenwich, and then obviously ourselves. I think we're at that top 2 race now, if I've got to be honest. We're very much looking to try and secure that top 6 position, and we've got teams breathing down our neck as well that we're fully aware of.
We talked about it a little bit off air earlier. The football that's played in Bostik South, so exciting this year. There's some really good football played, and not to miss anyone out, but the likes of Carshalton and Cray, the way they play, it's not only an exciting league, but it's such a great advert for non-league football.
I went and watched Cray last week against Whiteleaf. Very impressed with both teams. It was 5-1 to Cray, but not being obviously the ex-Whiteleaf manager, not being biased, I mean, at 3-1 to Cray, it could have been, I was saying to Anthony before, it could have been 4-3 to Whiteleaf. That it was good football. They'd missed a few chances, but very impressed with what they'd played, and that they tried to play the right way. And it was a good advert for the league. A very good advert. And
of course, you started the season with Whiteleaf. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you left when they were top in the playoffs?
I'll get crucified this with some of my supporters. When I had the meeting for the job, we was in 2nd. When I left, I think we was in 4th. It was a week later, so it was early days. So yeah.
And they had a bit of a, after you left, there was a bit of a rough patch. but they've come back now. And
John and Paul have done a great job there. When I left, I think 4 players come with me, which is always going to be difficult for them. They lost Olu to AFC Hornchurch, who he was the legs in the middle of the park. So yeah, they lost Daniel, they lost Jamal, Andrew Masungu. So they lost some key players, and they've done a great job to turn it around. They didn't win for the first, I think, 15 games after I left, and all of a sudden they got who they got in and worked with the rest of them, and they've done very, very well. Very well. Yeah, I'm very impressed.
Mick, you know this division so well. You must be looking at it now. As we head towards the playoff, of course, we'll be covering all of the playoffs across all 3 divisions, and it's so difficult to predict who will be in there. And for this division, because all of the teams, really, I know that Anthony's just ruled himself out, but they can get automatic promotion still.
They sure can. I was just thinking about Anthony. I would have thought with your home form, Anthony, you would want to be in 3rd or 4th position. So I would have thought that's where you'll be targeting. But I was just looking at that. Obviously, Hive are not out of it. I think Whiteleaf are out of it, in all honesty, but they've done a fantastic job. John Scarborough and Paul down there, really good. You want Corinthian Casuals and to really do it. We were there to that playoff final against Dorking last year. Corinthian Casuals. We all know football, you don't get what you deserve sometimes, but if and they lost. What is incredible about Corinthian Casuals and what James Bracken has done is the fact that he's lost so many players, and he's just got other players in that are playing for nothing. And whereas they probably cost an arm and a leg if they went to Lee or even went to yourself, Anthony, they're playing him for nothing. So that says a lot about that club, but particularly James in his man management. But cracking league, you're right, and I think it is what it is. Hive are the only one I'm not so sure whether Anthony gets the jitters and they all fall apart or not. But I suppose Greenwich could do the same thing. So I would have thought Hive are aiming both yourself and Greenwich to catch in there, and but I would have said 3rd or 4th is what you're looking for, Anthony.
Well, I think in those 3rd or 4th, obviously, positions, you get the home tie in the playoffs, which myself and the boys have obviously spoke about, and I can generally say we're out of those top 2 positions, unfortunately, after the run that we've had, losing to Whiteleaf in what was a very tight game. And I agree with what Lee was saying, in the fact what a good side they are. I mean, we got beat 3-2, 2-0 down, made it 2-2. It could have gone either way, and they got a winner. I thought we deserved to get beat that day. And then the game you were at, Mick, when we I believe had 30 attempts at goal to Guernsey's 3, and ended up going 2-0 down and finding a way to make it 2-2. And it was for us, that probably counted ourselves out of those top 2 positions. But I mean, the boys have done extremely well this year. I'm so proud of them. I mean, it's such a young side, and it's a group that's forever learning. And not just that, I'd like to take this group on into next year, whether that's into the Premier or whether that's in the South. But we do have a confidence, and I'd like to believe that's the Premier, because that's I like to breed that amongst the boys. So we want 3rd or 4th.
Dominic made reference last night when I was speaking to him, Dominic DiPalio from Horsham, that there could be 3. Yeah. Is that right? Is there something that rumoured around that I don't know about?
Across the equivalent divisions, this is something that got brought up with the board actually in the week. Highest place, 3rd place team. We were discussing it earlier, weren't we, on the phone, Lee?
That's been from the beginning of the season. The 3rd highest played go up automatically.
I tried and obviously blank it out. Yeah, of course, at the start of the year, obviously you hear those things, and you just want to go game by game. And now when you get yourself into a position that you're in, obviously there's a lot up for grabs. Status of being a Ryman Premier side and finishing 3rd or 4th, or now obviously what the points tallies. I mean, you look at those returns of the top 6 sides. I mean, even Hive, I think they're fantastic returns with points. So across the equivalent divisions, I believe it's the team with the highest amount of points goes and gains promotion. So that 3rd place as well could become very, very important.
Are we making any predictions in the Bostik South, or is it too tight to call?
What, to win? To win the league?
To win, to automatic promotion.
Well, automatic, I think it's Lewis's to lose, but you can't rule out Corinthian Casuals, so I'm not going to call between them 2. I'm going to sit on the fence. It's one of them 2. Sorry, Peter, because I love you to bits at Carshalton, but I think it's Lewis or Corinthian Casuals to win it. Any difference in that?
I think Carshalton finished 2nd. Just because they've got their home pitch. They know how to play on it at home, play very well there. I've watched them a few times this season as well, and I just... James is, to be honest, unbelievable what he's done in the couple of years that he's been there. And what he said is he had to rebuild again this year, where he lost a few key players. He lost Sean to Aldershot, and he's done. Yeah, he's a good manager. Yeah, I just think it's all about. Sorry about this. It's all about 5th and 6th. I think it's obviously out of Hive, Greenwich, and Casuals. Very tight. Yeah, it's very tight there.
Yeah, we'll watch with great interest in the Bostik South, as we will the rest of the leagues. And we look across at the rest of non-league last night. There were some big games in the National South. Hampton and Richmond Borough beat Hungerford Town 3-1. And of course, they're in the race for automatic promotion to the National League. And that took them into second place, joint second place. There was a big result as well as Truro City beat Havant and Waterlooville. It's another one of those divisions, Mick, when we look at the National South. We've talked about this for most of the season now, so tight at the top of the table with the likes of Havant and Waterlooville, Hampton, Dartford are all vying for that one automatic promotion spot.
Well, yeah, we love that. We love Douse, don't we? I mean, we get on so well with him. We've known he's been a friend of the show for many a year as well. And I never fancied that he was going to do it this year, and he's proved me wrong again, particularly with all these loan players that he keeps on having and making use of. Well, Dartford, another decent side. I've got to say, it's not a division I look at all the time. Probably Anthony knows a little bit more about that division, and probably Lee, maybe the better people to ask regarding this division more, but I'm just a Hampton and Richmond supporter that would really want them to go up automatically.
I mean, it's interesting what you say about Alan Dowson at Hampton and Richmond. I mean, I've known Alan for a long time now, and I hear the same thing from Alan. I've got no money. And you know, one thing I'm going to give him major credit for is his budgets haven't been the same as other managers within that division, and he goes and works extremely hard. When you talk about managers that want to be on the training pitch and do the individual work, he's one that goes out and gets his own sponsorship, works hard at his job, and you want to see those people do well, that love the game. You know, he's the type of guy, if there ain't a game of football, he'll go and watch one. And when you see them where they are and how well they've done with the resources that they've got, you really hope they get the job done.
Just quickly adding to that, looking at that sort of, was it 6 teams in that playoff position, you wouldn't want to be finishing second in that league and getting involved in the playoffs, because there's some top sides there, and it'll be difficult to call out of all of them who's going to go up. So, you know, Havant and Waterlooville in the top seat, but it's so tight. I can't believe how tight that is up there.
It's slightly different there, isn't it? In that league, it's the top one goes up, the next 2 are straight into the semis, and then the other 4 have to have a playoff to get into the semis.
Right. Okay.
So it's Havant, Lee Bradley, got a good club, good support, bit of history there. They played Liverpool a few years ago, didn't they? Dartford strong, and obviously Dowse at Hampton. So yeah, it's interesting.
I quite like that system in the National South. We debated this on the show a few weeks ago, but given the quarter-finals and the second and third place going automatically to the semis, are you a fan of that?
Nah, because it gives an advantage, in my opinion, to second and third. It's one less game to play.
But do they not earn that because they finish second and third?
What if they finish 1 point ahead or finish on goal difference? The margins are so fine. I don't think so. I think it should be top 6, top 1 goes up, semis, final. I don't like that.
What's your view on it, Anthony?
I've got to be quite honest. I love the way the Bostik South is this year, to be quite honest, with 2 that go up, and then you've got 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Yeah. The 3rd and 4th side play at home, then the semi-final. I think that's a real straightforward way and honest way to do things, because by obviously getting that home advantage, finishing 3rd and 4th, for me it's a good system and an honorary system of which I'd want to do across the leagues.
Yeah, it's a fascinating division, and we'll keep our eye on that one as well between now and the end of the season. Plenty more to come on the show tonight. We're going to talk all about consumption in football, all the way down to non-league, and of course we've got Super Sub a little bit later, and we'll look forward to the fixtures across non-league at the weekend. Right now we're going to do our non-league football quiz. The guys have all got pens and paper ready to go, so let's get into it.
It's time to see who has the best non-league football brain in the studio. Tweet your answers to @officialBOTN.
Now, Lee, you've played the non-league football quiz once before on the show. Mick, obviously you're a pro at it. And
no, I'm not a pro at it, no. Because I often get beaten, thank you.
And Anthony, this is your first attempt?
Don't know about it and haven't done it, so this should be very interesting.
5 questions for you, all across non-league official BOTN to get your answers into us tonight. Let's see how you get on.
Question 1.
The Battle of Stamford Bridge in 1066 between the Vikings and the English took place nearest to which non-league club? The Battle of Stamford Bridge in 1066 between the Vikings and the English took place nearest to which non-league club? I'll give you 3 options: Hastings United, York City or Maidstone United. The Battle of Stamford Bridge in 1066 between the Vikings and the English took place nearest to which non-league club? A. Hastings United, B. York City or C. Maidstone United. The choice is yours. Make sure we've all got an answer.
We're all covering our hands. Everyone wants to win this between us three. There's a little bit of rivalry going to go on here tonight.
I'm trying to have a little look.
Question 2.
The second question tonight. Which of these non-league teams play closest to Stonehenge? Which of these non-league teams play closest to Stonehenge? A. Salisbury City, B. Bath City or C. Swindon Supermarine? Non-league teams play closest to Stonehenge: Salisbury City, Bath City, Swindon Supermarine.
Question 3.
Chester FC of the National League play in which country? Chester FC of the National League play in which country?
Is this some sort of trick question or something?
It's entirely up to you. Official BOTN across social media.
Chester City.
Chester City FC, yeah. They play in the National League, but which country do they play in?
You know this one, didn't you?
Plenty of thought going into these answers tonight.
Question 4.
The Trawler Boys is the nickname of which Bostik club? The Trawler Boys is the nickname of which Bostik club? Is it A. Brightlingsea Regent, B. Lowestoft Town or C. Canvey Island? The Trawler Boys is the nickname of which Bostik club? A. Brightlingsea Regent, B. Lowestoft Town or C. Canvey Island?
Question 5.
And the final question on the non-league quiz tonight. Dulwich Hamlet play in which London borough? Dulwich Hamlet play in which London borough? And those are your questions this evening. Answers official BOTN across social media, and we'll be back with those answers after this.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page One journey today with a free online health check by visiting promoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Are you looking for a little bit more than a good meal at a pub? The Half Moon is a hidden gem located in the picturesque village of Charlwood on the Surrey-Sussex borders. Proud of old traditions, this old English pub offers tasty fresh food with locally sourced ingredients, comfortable dining and traditional bar area, as well as a lovely garden for your enjoyment. Evening with friends or lunch with family, whatever the occasion, you can expect our friendly and welcoming staff to help. Half Moon Charlwood. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming events and live music.
Need to refuel? Whether you're heading home or away, get ahead of the game and refuel at Dorking's Service Centre. Dorking's local retailer of quality BP fuel, Costa coffee and food to go. Find us at the traffic lights close to Dorking Halls or at dorkingservicecentre.com.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers, and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Head to backofthenetsouth.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the net, where it matters.
So welcome back to the show tonight. There's tension in the studio as we're about to reveal the answers for the non-league football quiz. Plenty of debate going on during the ad break. Official BOTN for your answers tonight. Right, let's get into them.
The non-league football quiz.
Are we all confident? No confidence in the studio, right?
No, I am.
Now, Mick's confident tonight. Right, let's get into the answers.
I'm just interested to see what the answers are.
Question 1.
The Battle of Stamford Bridge in 1066 between the Vikings and the English took place nearest to which non-league club? A. Hastings United, B. York City, or C. Maidstone United? What did we get, Anthony?
C.
You went for Maidstone. Mick?
I've gone Hastings.
And Lee?
Hastings.
The answer, the Battle of Stamford Bridge, 1066, between the Vikings and the English, took place nearest to York City. The battle took place 8.6 miles from the home of the Minstermen.
I'm just glad you two didn't get it.
When you said Stamford Bridge, it made me think of Leicester, that neck of the woods, I've got to say.
We always like to bring a little bit of history or geography into some of the answers.
There was a battle in 1066 down Hastings,
Not
was there
that
not?
one.
There was,
Yeah,
I think,
that one. Next one.
I think that's deliberately picked by Adam.
It weren't at Maidstone anyway.
Thank God.
Adam, who wrote the questions, who's not here tonight, I'm sure has put that one in deliberately.
Question 2.
Cheers,
Which of these non-league teams play closest to Stonehenge? Salisbury City, Bath City, or Swindon Supermarine? What did you get, Anthony?
You've got to stop going at me first, by the way.
At
least I can change it. Bath City.
Mick?
I'm torn between Swindon and Salisbury, but I'm just going to plump for Swindon.
And Lee?
Salisbury.
Now, the answer, of course, is Salisbury City, closest to Stonehenge.
0/2.
Question 3.
Chester FC of the National League play in which country? I'm going to go with you again, Anthony.
I've gone Wales.
Mick?
I've gone Wales, funny enough.
And Lee?
England.
Okay, the answer
Don't tell me England, for God's sake.
is Wales, actually. Although one stand at the Diva Stadium is in England, the pitch is actually in Wales.
1 out of 3.
This is
I'm off the mark.
I'm 1 out of 3 and all, you know.
This is a proper quiz question, Chester FC. So one stand is in England, the rest in Wales. So they play in Wales, of course.
Question 4.
The Trawler Boys is the nickname of which Bostik club? A. Brightlingsea Regent, B. Lowestoft Town, or C. Canvey Island?
Anthony. I'm going to go Brightlingsea Regent.
Mick?
I can't believe you said that. Lowestoft.
Lee?
I said Brightlingsea.
The answer is Lowestoft Town, so Mick, you got it right.
The old geography, yeah. Lee and Anthony. God, blimey.
Question 5.
And the last question tonight. Dulwich Hamlet play in which London borough? You might as well finish us off, Anthony.
Lewisham.
Well, I think this is a trick question. I'm going to say Merton.
Lee?
Southwark.
Okay, as they ground share with Tooting and Mitcham, the answer is Merton.
Oh, that's poor.
And who's the winner tonight, I wonder?
Let's bring
That's
Remy
poor.
onto the mic to give us the rundown of how we finished.
Say it loud, Remy.
That's poor.
Okay. So, God, we're doing a lot of joints at the moment. Oh, God. wrong choice of words really, but in second place, joint second place is Anthony and Lee, and in top spot is Mick. And I think Mick has maybe retained top spot now since he's been on. Previously, I think he came first in that. So definitely, as the season's gone on, Mick has brushed up on all non-league knowledge, not just Bostik, not just Step 5, across the board. So well done, Mick.
Thank you very much, Remy.
Just to test you out, Mick, which at the time they were a non-league team. Which current Premier League club were a non-league team when they won the FA Cup?
Tottenham Hotspur. I will never forget.
There we go. Mick Sullivan will never forget that question when it comes up. Brilliant. Well done to the guys here. And of course, let us know how you got on. Official BOTN. The non-league football quiz returns next week. Right, plenty to talk about between now and 9 o'clock. We're going to talk all about consumption of football across the football leagues and down into non-leagues. It's been a great couple of seasons for fans coming to non-league grounds, and we've seen a rise in attendances that's bigger than ever before. Do you put that down to any single one thing, Lee?
The excitement of non-league football. You can get closer to the players, get closer to the action, and it's got to be a big factor is the cost that it costs to go to a Premier League game or Championship game. So that must come into it as well. The fact that is anything between 8 to 15, 16 quid to get into certain non-league games. So I think that's a big factor in it.
The top three tiers of English football, the aggregate attendance for 2016-17 totalled around 30 million spectators. That was according to UEFA earlier this year. For Bostik leagues this season, there's been an 11.4% increase across all of the leagues, and it's apparent that that's happening across all of non-league, not just the Bostik leagues.
I think value for money is simple as that. I mean, young families now, 2.4 children or whatever they might want to say, go to a football game. If it's Premiership or Championship, it's going to cost them all of 100 quid for that day, I would have thought, with their tickets, food and whatever, travel and all that. And I think social media at our level has definitely pumped up what we're about at non-league level. And I think because the social media has highlighted it more at this level, I think a few people have wandered down, and particularly when they have initiatives like non-league day and what have you, and they've decided, wow, I can talk to the person next to me, I know who he is, or the person that I might walk along to the burger bar, I know who he is, and we can talk about football. You wouldn't necessarily be able to do that at like a Championship or Premiership club, unless you're a season ticket holder. You might know the adjacent people. In non-league, we all know it's such a social area that we love it. I love it particularly. I go to all grounds. I know a majority of people 9 times out of 10, and I think people are more sociable at this level. I can't put my finger on it as to why, but it is.
Social element, Anthony. That's
massive. I think the point Mick just raised about awareness, I think, is massive, especially in the social media. I mean, you look at social media now, and especially shows like this, and you also look at your Instagrams, your Twitters. I mean, our club in general, and I use us as an example. I mean, we've started to go quite big on social media, and you can see from our attendances over the last year that we got more young children engaged in wanting to come and play the game. And I think that also can come down to your relationship between your youth section and also your senior section. And I think as non-league develops, and it has developed, I think, over the last couple of seasons, I think those relationships are only going to grow stronger between junior sections and senior sections in order to get those crowds in. And a point you touched upon about getting closer as well to the players, you feel closer, you can interact, and I think when you're definitely going to Premier League stadiums, you haven't got that interaction. You're one of 40,000 people, whereas you're one of 200, and you got more of a feel about it. I know my granddad, when he used to come and watch me, he used to love it. So you had my granddad Peter that would watch my dad's games in front of 30,000, but he used to love and come and watch me at Walton Casuals in front of 25 people, and that was probably over exaggerating. It's probably about 12, but it was to be fair, there was quite a few at the old Waterside, wasn't there? It was a lovely ground, and it's that, as I say, that interaction and that feel, it's non-league's got a real nice feel about it, I think, at the moment in general.
Do you think, Mick, that we are being slightly skewed by some of the bigger attendances, some of the Billericay games, the Dulwich games, perhaps just looking at the Bostik leagues? There are a few games that draw big attendances. We saw at Worthing recently when they played Billericay that the attendance was huge. Is it the case that attendances have improved across all teams, or just certain bigger teams that are getting bigger crowds?
Well, I think Anthony's just made that point. He's confirmed that point. I know Walton Casual's average crowd were probably less than 80 or less than that, maybe, Anthony. And what are they now? 200
We're
coming up?
getting 200 people to
So
games, yeah.
it is, I feel, it is across the board. I know, obviously, Billericay sort of stand out there, and Dulwich come to that, or a bit of a standout club out there. The fact that they have got like massive support, but generally I think that every club is probably picking up maybe 20 or 30 new supporters. Maybe that's an over-exaggeration, but they're picking up a fair few supporters each season as we go along. And I've said it is more about the financial cost and obviously social media, and I think they're quite pleasantly surprised at the standard of football that they watch. They're quite happy to pay that amount of money than maybe pay a £40 ticket and see guys not tracking back or not showing the quality that they expect.
We sorry to interrupt there, but we I mean, even this morning I left an email we've got 530 kids in our youth section. We did a video footage, me calling for a bigger attendance, want all the juniors there, but on Saturday we want them all to wear their orange shirts. So we think it's important they all turn up, and they turn up with their orange shirts. They come in free of charge. They're all free of charge, all the juniors, and it's just, as I said, just raising awareness and wanting them to be a part of it. And once again, we've said, right, each week there's going to be a different age group mascot in the side. They get to come and socialise with the players in the changing room from 1 till 1:20 before obviously the major preparation goes in. But it does as well with that, like we said about that consumption and getting crowds in. It's about that club, about that feel from juniors to seniors.
And go on, Mick.
Sorry, Ben. I was just thinking for Lee here, thinking about the attendances what Kingstonian used to have and what they have now. That must be what we're talking about here. Very frustrating for you to hear.
Well, not really, because I had it at Farnborough. So, I mean, it's the same scenario. Big club. They used to get 2,000-3,000, didn't they? When it was in the national, and same as Kingstonian. It's obviously we're leaving Leatherhead this season, going over back into the borough, which should get some of the local fans back again, because we're back in the borough. Which
have you found that ground sharing out of interest? Because we've done that for the last 2 years, and I'm not going to lie, it's been tough, Lee.
Where was it more tough for you? Was it Merstham or
Merstham, and then we went to Whiteleaf, and we must have been getting probably. We had a few fans that are obviously very used to being at Walton, and then it's a bit different now because obviously it's at Walton. But how have you found it? It was tough for us for 2 years.
We get anything about 220 to 260, 270, and I think when you're back in the borough, you're looking more 350 to 400. So it's not like for argument's sake, you got 25 coming. You used to get 90 or 100. So, but yeah, I mean, it's good for me to get back into the borough with the club. Good field factor for next season with what they're doing off the pitch, and it's a good time to be at the club. So yeah, it's I think it'll be good to get a lot more fans will come back in next season.
Well, the two things that you mentioned there, moving to a new ground and also a relegation. Aveley, a really good example. They've seen a rise of over 200% of their attendances this year compared to last, averaging over 250 fans a game in the North Division, second only to Bury Town. Fantastic new facilities. Can really help as you found, to attract fans to come and have that day out.
I think as well, I think without hiding behind it, I think if you're winning games of football as well, I think fans do come. I mean, it's we went on a magnificent run of winning 6 consecutive games, and then we've slipped up over the last month or so. Crowds have dipped that little bit, and it's although we work hard, as I said, with the juniors, I think clubs like success and they do enjoy winning. And to maintain those crowds, and like you said, for the bigger games, like for instance, if there was a Walton Casuals, Walton and Hersham game, a local derby, you'd probably be getting 300-400 fans. So winning as well is quite, and that's another topic altogether that we could start debating about the winning and the losing. But that does bring fans. Success breeds 100%. More revenue, more publicity. That's what it comes with, doesn't it?
And Lowestoft Town would be one team to look at. They've been relegated from the National League North in 2016. Attendances have dropped by 20% from last season to this season in the Bostik Prem. Recently went public with their financial difficulties, citing the big drop in attendances. Is that a worry for, I know we talk about the way football clubs are run, but if you do go up the divisions, an example in the Championship would be the likes of Hull and Sunderland, who are now really struggling with revenue since they've had a fall from grace and both near the bottom of the league. It's something that really has an effect on your attendances.
I mean, we've been in the Bostik South now for a few years. We've had a few reprieves in that time, and I mean, the club have already spoke about what we're going to do and try and put things in place. If it was, I mean, when we first started this year, I think that the board sat down and said mid-table would be a great finish, and then obviously now to be where we are, contingency plans and plans have to be put in place, because if we do go up, obviously financially you will need that extra bit of revenue, number one, to survive in that division, and also the bits around the club that are going to be so important, the more travelling, and obviously at the moment the players are travelling to games by themselves, but when you do go up a division you'll be looking at the cost of coaches, and it's things that the club have definitely spoke about and trying to put in place, because it is a strain for some football clubs.
But just talking about that, obviously Lowestoft they're in the wrong league, aren't they? I feel so sorry for them. They're right on the edge of really being either in a Midland League, in all honesty, which I'm not so sure the FA are restructuring for a Midland League. I'm not sure about that. I haven't sort of delved into it too heavily, but it is interesting. I think what the FA are doing with all the geography changes, which we're all waiting with bated breath at the end of this season to see who goes where and who's going to be run by the Bostik League and who's going to be run by the EvoStick League at different steps 3 and 4. So that, I would think, if the FA have got it right, will actually help with costs for every club.
I agree.
It will make more local games, which will create more interest, I would have thought, rather than perhaps a Lowestoft coming down to play a Merstham. I don't think that would be a big attendance, even though Merstham don't have a lot of fans, but you know.
As long as we don't have to go to Ramsgate or Guernsey on a Tuesday night, it'll be all right.
Well, I actually believe what I've been told is that the consideration at the moment is for Leiston and Lowestoft and Needham Market and where they go, and I think there is some debate in this restructure, and perhaps Mick, it is because it's not quite as straightforward as having that sort of central league, that there is a debate where those 3 clubs go. And the argument is that if they go into the Bostik leagues, the likes of Bognor, maybe if they go down, Worthing have to travel up towards Needham Market and Leiston. And the other argument is, I think it's Stourbridge would have to travel further to get to those clubs than the likes of Worthing do if they go into the EvoStick League. So it's a difficult predicament, and I'm not quite sure what the answer is, but perhaps one of the reasons I'm led to believe that it's taking so long to sort this out.
They can't obviously do anything till we know who's relegated and who's got promotion. So that's the main reason right now. So there's going to be some winners and there's going to be some losers. Hopefully they get it right and there's more winners than losers, because that's the what they're trying to aim for. But yeah, it's a hard job. It's a hard job to do.
I would have thought there's a few clubs have already been given the nod, or saying to them, we think you could end up being involved there, particularly ones that are not in the relegation and promotion areas. I think maybe they've been told. I think they've got this imaginary line, the FA, already, and I think they're trying to prime up. Probably a silly thing to do if they have done it, but I'm just taking this guess that they probably have.
No, they've given out lines of how the country's being cut up, but it's not set in stone by any stretch of imagination, and it's just like it could be like this, and we could move the line slightly this way or slightly that way, and nobody, listen, if you've got the Bostik Premier next year, then for argument's sake, teams that are in London are obviously going to be in that league because that's central of that area. But the ones that are on the borderlines, there's literally, if one goes up, you could literally go to the other league, or one goes down, you go. It's that fine margin.
Anthony, I want to ask you, because this, going back to how we consume football and fans and attendances, if you were to go up this season, how much of an effect would that have on your attendances? Bearing in mind teams could be travelling further and bringing less away fans. Do you have to factor that in as well?
I think that if you look at our average home attendances now, for us in general, I think we're getting around 160, which is, I mean, to go up from 25 or 30 over the last 2 years, which it has been, and that's been the revenue that we very much relied on, and the rest has had to be through fundraising Dad does charity events to try and obviously fund the money for the club, and it's tough. I've seen the stress that obviously he's gone through in order to try and do that with the Saunders, who have been there, that you know Mick very well. They work extremely hard for the football club to bring that club in, bring the money in, and being a part of that and seeing that over the years, you can see how hard, and I think it's given me especially a greater appreciation of when you have a budget and when you've got to give players money. I think it's been a great education for me, because now when I see players being handed X, X and X, for me I laugh. I do laugh at it, because if you put into the respect of how many people you get through the gate and how the club's managed, that's why, as I say, to see it and be around the club and see the constraints, it helps when you're handing out money to these players. Like, I mean, at home, as I say, we're getting 160 away from home. We've got a group of boys actually that Joe Hicks, since he signed for the club, his local pub that he drinks in, Joe, 10 of his friends travel to the games, which is great. So we get around 10 to 15 travelling away fans, which we've probably had none over recent years, but that's been through Joe being a local boy, growing up around the area, everyone knowing him. And I think, again, when we talk about crowds, to have local players and to have people and faith like myself, local guy, been brought up around Walton, local manager, I think that definitely helps for people to look at those faces and people to respect, if you like, in order to again raise them crowds.
Plenty more to talk about on this topic as we look at the way that we consume football across non-league. We've got Super Sub coming up. We're going to play Who Am I as well, and of course we'll look ahead to the fixtures across the Bostik leagues next weekend. We'll be back after this.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page One journey today with a free online health check by visiting PromoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Are you looking for a little bit more than a good meal at a pub? The Half Moon is a hidden gem located in the picturesque village of Charlwood on the Surrey-Sussex borders. Proud of old traditions, this old English pub offers tasty fresh food with locally sourced ingredients, comfortable dining and traditional bar area, as well as a lovely garden for your enjoyment. Evening with friends or lunch with family, whatever the occasion, you can expect our friendly and welcoming staff to help. Half Moon Charlwood. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming events and live music.
Need to refuel? Whether you're heading home or away, get ahead of the game and refuel at Dorking's Service Centre. Dorking's local retailer of quality BP fuel, Costa coffee and food to go. Find us at the traffic lights close to Dorking Halls or at dorkingservicecentre.com.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers, and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Head to backofthenetsouth.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the Net, where it matters. With all the latest news from across non-league football. Online at backofthenetsouth.co.uk and broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitter and Facebook. This is Back of the Net News.
The top stories at 8 p.m. are as follows. The Hartlepool Mail have reported that Raj Singh's Hartlepool United takeover is back on and could be completed in 2 days. Fresh talks between Singh and Pool's owner John Blackledge have taken place this morning, and hopes are high that the takeover could now be completed within 48 hours. Plans have been unveiled at Victoria Avenue for the new home of Guernsey football. The modern facility will serve as Guernsey FC's home ground and will also have a 3G training pitch made available for community use. The project is to be largely funded by the English FA. Torquay United owner Clark Osborne has confirmed that the club will remain full-time and professional whatever happens over the final 6 weeks of the season. A courageous 1-0 victory at Leyton Orient has set up a relegation showdown at Solihull Moors this weekend. And finally, Cray Wanderers chairman Gary Hillman says a return home for London's oldest football club will be a huge boost for the community. Plans for the ground have taken a huge step forwards after the London Borough of Bromley voted in favour of the Bostik South Club's proposals. The new facility at Flamingo Park, where a nightclub currently stands, will include a ground, community facilities and housing. That's the latest with me, Liam Heath.
Welcome back to the show tonight. Plenty to come in the next hour. And first of all, let's have a look at the scores. Not been playing too long this evening, of course, but it's 0-0 between Leatherhead and Needham Market in the Bostik Premier Division. It's 1-0 to Carshalton Athletic. Jordan Cheadle gave Carshalton Athletic the lead after 2 minutes. We said it was going to be a big game.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that, because I noticed Jordan Cheadle was having to put a load of painkillers into him to actually play a football game today, and I said to him about how do you still play, and he scored a goal early doors. So, well, it's what you said. Who was it was calling Carshalton, but there you go.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on that game as the show progresses. We were talking before the break all about attendances and how we consume football. Anthony, we got as far as talking about the geography of the league and how that might affect attendances next season. Looking at the importance of young fans, we touched on that a little bit, but bringing fans through. As a manager, do you have a lot of a part to play in some of the ways that you engage with young fans?
I've tried to be as instrumental as possible with our juniors, as I mentioned before, and I'll say the number, it's 550 youngsters that we've got from under 9s going through to under 16s. We've now got a ladies team as well on top of that, a ladies senior team that's going to be coming in, and we sent out an email this morning to all of them kids with myself talking, asking for their support on Saturday, and it's we train on a Thursday and on a Tuesday, of which before that our junior teams also train, and when we speak about facilities, that has to be one of the major gains, in the fact that we have a facility where all our kids can train, our senior team plays, and I think it's built a relationship around the club where in recent years I don't think we've had that ability, like I said, going and playing, it's ever so hard, and when you get your ground you'll have the same, I'm sure. Kingstonian have got lots of I remember, especially when I was playing, the amount of good young sides they have, and I'm sure it's the same with the kids coming through your system. But, you know, it's been, as I say, pivotal, the new stadium for us, because, as I say, we've got the under 12s training before us. So the under 12s come off the pitch, the senior teams come off. You've got Yusuf Bamba high-fiving the kids and spending time with other kids, and it's them being able, and we said as well about the interaction, it's definitely helped.
You then get the kids wanting to go and watch Yusuf on a Saturday, which then mum or dad or both have to come, so you get them coming through the door, and that's the key to it at this level, I think.
We've got quite a few Bamba shirts in the crowd.
There you go.
It's that opportunity that we're talking about for any fan of any age, really, to be able to, like you say, engage, chat with players, something that you don't get at Premier League and below in the football leagues.
I mean, you don't get that in many places, do you? I think you have the community schemes of which the clubs run, but we talk about community schemes. I remember working in Chelsea's and in Fulham's community scheme, and there's a promise of a player coming down, and you're waiting, and you're in front of 100 kids saying, I remember when I was at Fulham, Louis Sahar's coming down today. Oh, sorry, Louis injured and he's getting treatment, he's not there, and they send down one of the 16s or the 18s, and they don't have that. But obviously with ourselves, you know, if you turn round and you say a senior player's coming down, Yusuf Bamba, I'll use him, Joe Hicks being a local boy as well, who who goes to McDonald's in the high street where the kids go to. It's I don't let my players actually eat in McDonald's. I should have said that in a pasta place down the road. But it's it definitely helps. But those pro clubs, I find those community schemes are so disappointing, especially with the and again that's another debate with you look at your Chelsea community schemes, your Fulhams, all the way through, the amount of resources that they have, and I definitely think they should be doing more in the local areas, especially with these stars they've got.
Is it the case, Lee, that in non-league, what everybody's doing a good job of is luring fans away, perhaps, from the prices and the distance that you are between the players, maybe the engagement, luring fans away from bigger teams to come to non-league football now?
I think Mick touched on it a little while ago. The standard is such a good standard these days in non-league, and you're not going to go. I was talking about Cray and casuals and that. You're not going to go and watch most teams now. Route one. There's some good football being played, and it's nice to watch. So I think that's a big factor as well. And like we said a minute ago, it's about engaging the under 9s up to the under 14s, 15s. That you've got little young Johnny that's going to be training on the pitch where the first team are going to be playing their Saturday game, and he's going to meet Yusuf Bamba or someone like that, and he gets to see him, gets to know that player, so he wants to come and watch that player or watch that team. So I think that's a big one of the big inputs into it in getting them through the door.
I mean, that style of football that Lee mentioned is really important. We talk about engagement of fans, that perhaps 10 years ago the quality of football in non-league would be fair to say wouldn't have been anywhere near what we're seeing at the moment.
No,
who are you talking to? Me?
To you, Mick.
Oh, sorry. I wonder who you're talking to then. You were looking at Lee. I'm going to talk about Leverhead, obviously my local side. What they've done is actually fantastic. Like, you're getting ex-pros now sort of dropping down into the non-league game, and I think that again is sort of, I don't know, sort of like getting everyone's imagination from kids, seeing like Wimbledon players like Sammy Moore, Jack Midson, Minshaw, they're all sort of being ex-professional footballers, pretty much loads of them, and then throw into the mix.
And good people as well, Mick.
Yeah, and good people, I agree with that. And with Alfie Gates, who's a great social media, look how that club has taken off fantastically, the attendance records of that. But the only thing that's disappointment, which we've just been talking about, is they haven't engaged their junior section into that. They've got a separate section at Leverhead, and they haven't engaged that. I don't know. I would have thought that's the way forward, in all honesty, to engage all your youth sections. I don't know how easy that would be at Kingstonian because you're ground sharing, but I would have thought a majority. I think Jody would be ticking that same box about just encouraging these juniors, getting a relationship with. Merston's been very good at that as well. All these players I see when I go down Merston every so often, I see all these players talking to the players who are in and around the dressing room area and sort of talking to them. And that just the imagination of these young kids is fantastic.
You mentioned social media. Do you guys play a big part in what your club does on social media?
I don't. No.
Big impact on perhaps younger fans?
To be quite honest, I've taken to social media quite a lot in the last couple of years. I think, especially within the role, I like to comment on the game that they've seen, especially when you've got a fan base as well now, which we have. I think it encourages the fan base that they get a little bit of a report from their manager that they look at, whether it's a positive one or a negative one. A lot of my tweets are pretty much development based and individual based, because that's the way that we work as a club. And the kids, they all follow you. Of course, you get your following, which has been quite handy, because I had 0 followers before that. Now we've got a few kids. They've obviously getting a few followers now. But it's nice because the kids do message, and they want to know how you're getting on and what's going on in training when they come up and speak to you. It's fantastic. And the company that's been set up alongside it, I've got an academy that runs out there on a Friday. A few of our juniors go there. So it's nice that, as you said about Sammy and Mids over there, it's a part they need to look at, obviously combining it together, because the last 2 years we've been in a process of trying to, but I can relate completely to what's happening at your place, not having your own place, which makes it so frustrating, because if those bits are knitted together, it makes your job easier in the relation of bringing crowds over, getting larger fans, they get to know their first team manager, which I'm sure a lot of the kids want to do. But as I said, it does come down to, and social media is, I'm learning the art of the hashtag. I'm getting better with it. getting better with it. How are you with a hashtag, Mick?
Ain't got a clue about hashtag. I don't know, I'll get away with it, to be honest with you, Anthony.
I'm getting there, I'm learning, I'm trying.
I'm sure
You know more than me, sorry Ben.
plenty of hashtags on our Twitter feed tonight. I'm sure Remy and the team have been getting the show out on social media. It is an important part. The other important part will be the TV coverage. When we look at the way the game's perhaps changed at the top level, Sky Sports, the introduction of BT Sport, they now, of course, follow the National League. We cover the Bostik Leagues. The importance of getting non-league football onto the TV with the finals and the playoffs is great to capture fans.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, the shows now that you're getting in non-league football, I think, and especially this one, you look at the Isthmian League show, you look at the coverage now that it's getting. And I mean, I tune in each week and I'm interested to see what people think. And on top of that, it actually improves my knowledge. I'm not going to lie. I look it in. I listen to people on the show. I listen to you, Mick, listen to you, Ben, and your knowledge of the North Divisions and the Premier Divisions. And Lee, I just listen to your knowledge there on the Conference Division. It's something that I need to tune in with myself personally. I need to get better and more educated. So it's not just for kids to tune into. It's for us managers as well to educate ourselves, which I think is important.
The highlight show we've obviously got on a Sunday next week. It's Staines against Leiston. We'll talk more about that later on, but just to get people a glimpse, perhaps, Lee, of non-league and certainly Bostik leagues can help to want to engage that interest and get people down to a ground.
I just think especially like if you'd have gone there last night and watched Staines play, just the quality of football that was played. It was on a great surface. Staines pitch is always a carpet, and it was good, entertaining football. Some goals you would have saw there last night you would have seen on the Premier League, and I think that's how you get these people to come and keep getting the numbers going up into grounds, is just by the quality and it's engage with the young fans, I think.
I'd like to give a big shout out to the Bostik League and the people that are running the Bostik League, because they had the foresight to approach yourselves back of the net to do the show and promote that league, and it's going forward all the time. Mega. I mean, we're right out there. There's so many people now that are fully aware. Obviously, we used to be the Ryman League, but now called the Bostik League. I'd have thought the Bostik sponsors will be really pleased with what's happened this season.
I think it's massive what you've achieved, and in the radio show and obviously the Isthmian show that they do as well. It's that you're just bringing people that wouldn't normally have an insight into non-league and what it's about, and putting a face like Anthony Gale as the manager of Walton. Oh, that's Anthony Gale. Otherwise, you're just reading, maybe on social media, you might be reading the Bostik League, or you might be reading a little bit of Twitter, things like that. But I think it's done really, really well.
We look at streaming services like the platforms of YouTube and talks of Amazon that want to do football, and all the different platforms that you get now to stream and do things like this. Is it important that non-league football embraces that and takes that on?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you're saying about obviously putting faces to names, which I think is important, but the quality of some of the games now, and I completely back what you said. I mean, some of the games of football that I watch, there's so many lessons to be learnt from young kids. I mean, they all go and learn academy football, and it's a system that I worked in at Chelsea and at Millwall for years, but my real education has come in the last couple of years in taking senior football, because nothing can prepare you for working, obviously, in the senior game, and kids that come into that can get a preparation and actually see it, because I've had kids, and I'm sure you've had kids come in that where agents have called you, they've been there, but not prepared for that next stage. And I think when they get to see it visually, and they get to see the quality, and they get to see, actually, do you know what? These are proper divisions, these are proper players, they look after their bodies, they're good technically, they're good psychologically, they tick those boxes. I think it's huge. I think it's good for the whole game.
Like you're saying there, I've had players come out of Premier League clubs on loan, and they come in and they think, oh, this is going to be a walk in the park. Like, I'm 7 leagues higher. They've never played for their first team in the Premier League. There's just been an under-23s, and they come in and they can't handle it. Like, literally, they can't handle the pace, they can't handle the physicality of it, and sometimes they're not technically as good as some of the players that are around them at our levels. And like you say, it's getting better all the time. The quality is getting better all the time, and with the social media and your shows, and I just think that there's so much more people that will start tuning in, and as the word is spread, there's such a lot of potential in it going forward.
In your opinion, have you seen more of an interest from scouts over the last few years in the bigger leagues?
Well,
this level.
When you think of clubs like Chelsea, you think of the buying power that they buy youth players all over the world. Literally, they have scouts every corner of the world and at every age level. Now, I know this for a fact that they had 2 or 3 scouts come down to Anthony's games looking at a certain player, and their remit, or part of one of their remits, is to go and find the next Jamie Vardy, go and find the next Diamond. And if you're getting clubs like Chelsea doing that, it tells you that it's a big thing at the moment, trying to find the next gem that's in non-league. And every season you'll find between one to 3 or 4 players that make it into the league. Alfie May made it last season, last January, gone to Doncaster, got promoted with them, played games in League 2. Jamal went from obviously Havant to Portsmouth. There's players going all the time into the league, and yeah, there's gems out there.
And there are, even at step 5. So let's not forget about step 5 and step 6. I know we're 100%. Basically Bostik League guys here, but there are some tidy players at step 6 and step 5 that are just there and no one's actually seeing them. So I'm not so sure whether our scouting system, I suspect you'll tell me wrong that you do have scouts, both of you, looking at step 5 and step 6, but there's plenty of players. Ashley Naderston is one who's actually, I think he's playing for Carlisle now, and he scored goals in 2 of his games. So
we've actually gone as far to I know Lee knows him, but I've appointed a head of recruitment. Now the head of recruitment that I've appointed, I know you're all aware of, Dean Thomas. Dean's worked at those lower levels, he's worked at this level, and he knows a good player, and he goes out there now and watches games for me, goes out and watches Combined Counties games, might be Bostik South games, Bostik Premier games, and I think there's something we put in place at the start of the year, because Dean had to step down last year because of obviously just work commitments. It was extremely tough for him. But this role is ideal, because I don't sometimes get an opportunity, and I know you don't, Lee. You've got a family, you've got work, you've got bits going on, and obviously the manager's 24/7, obviously that job. So to have a head of recruitment to go and watch those games, to cover all bases, I think it's extremely important, because there is a lot of talent out there.
Okay.
Plenty more to come on this debate as we take it even further between now and 9 o'clock. And of course, we'll look ahead to all the games across non-league at the weekend. Right now, we're going to turn our attention to Super Sub and welcome Lewis Spence, the Thurrock player, onto the phone right now. Lewis, very good evening to you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening, Lewis.
Thanks for coming on, Lewis. It's been a good time for Thurrock. 3 wins in a row until, of course, that defeat at Folkestone at the weekend. As morale in the squad, first season in the Bostik Premier Division, it must be good.
Well, we didn't play Folkestone on the weekend, to be fair.
Have I got that wrong? Is that
you have.
A bit of my research not right?
We're still on 3 wins as it stands, so we're looking for that 4th this weekend.
I'm sure I got told that by one of our researchers, but I'll slap them. I'll slap them on the wrist for that. Never mind.
Good start. Good start.
Yeah. But let's talk about the 3 wins in a row. Really impressive.
Yeah, to be fair, we've responded to a few results that haven't gone our way. And at the minute, we're just taking every game as it comes. And it weren't until we won the 2 on the bounce that the gaffer in the change room pulled us and said, look, we haven't won 3 on the bounce this year. Can we go and achieve that today? And the boys again stepped up to the plate and made that happen. So we're still on our little run as it stands and hope to extend it.
Is your targets between now and the end of the season just to keep that winning run going? You set yourself a points target?
Well, we've achieved the manager's points target, and the boys want to kick on again. We ain't sitting on our laurels. We ain't happy just to stay up. We want to go and win as many games as we can, or collect as many points as we can between now and the end of the season. So we set ourselves a points tally of 50 once we knew what the gaffer wanted from us, and we're 1 away from that, I believe. So after the last win we had, we said, right, we need to set these points again and look to further our achievements for the year.
And individually, have you set yourself any targets?
I have. I'm not one to splurt out my targets, but I've met my target for this year. And again, I had to adjust. I spoke to a very close pal of mine that works in the Bostik League as well, and he said, look, you can't dwell on that, you have to go and set yourself a new target and go and hit that for the rest of the season. So I've got a bit of work to do between now and the end of the year.
Was one of those targets to beat the Super Sub time?
Well, I've just found out about that, so why not? Let's crack it.
32 seconds to beat. It's going to be really tough. We've had a couple of really good weeks on Super Sub where new records have been hit. Have you heard any of Super Sub? You know what you're going to do?
Well, yeah, I know now. I believe my assistant manager was meant to pass me on a few videos of them so I could be aware of it, but he's let me down again. No surprise there.
Good luck.
All you need to do is substitute the correct answer for any wrong answer. It sounds so simple. Just don't say the right answer. We're going to put a timer on. If you want to finish in top spot, then you need to beat 32 seconds.
No problem.
We're going to get on with Super Sub right now. So substitute the correct answer for any wrong answer. Your time starts now. Harry Kane plays for which Premier League side?
Arsenal.
Manchester United play in which colour?
Blue.
Complete the team name. Corinthian.
Walton.
Roman Abramovich owns which Premier League side?
Man United.
The Eagles are the nickname of which Premier League club?
Everton.
How many teams compete in the Champions League final?
3.
Team Cahill plays for what international side?
New Zealand.
The Den is the home of which championship side?
West Ham.
What is the minimum number of goals you need to win a football match?
5.
The Cottage is the home of which London club?
Arsenal.
Stop the clock. There we go. Right, that was. I think that was quite impressive. I think you're going to be quite close, there or thereabouts. It was a really tough score to beat. How did you find it?
Yeah, it's challenging because, like you say, the correct answer springs to mind. I'm glad you had to answer the wrong answer, to be fair, because I probably would have got a few wrong.
Sometimes the way the questions are worded just lure you into perhaps trying to say the correct answer. You seem to go through pretty seamlessly. A few of them were close to the correct answers. United playing.
Yeah, I dangled a few carrots there to upset a few fans, I think.
Yeah, Arsenal.
I'd love Harry Kane at Arsenal, to be fair. Wouldn't mind that.
Arsenal came up a couple of times. West Ham, of course, the home of the. I liked what you did with the answers. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm an originally South London boy, and I've moved to Essex, so I'm sure that will upset a few as well.
Well, I can tell you that you are not top, but you are in the Champions League positions. You're third. You did it in 41 seconds. So really good effort tonight. Third place.
I think that was your slow questioning.
Was that? I've been blamed a couple of times this season for slow questioning. I'm not sure if I'd have managed to shave off 7 seconds, but listen, well done, Lewis. Thanks for coming on the show, and of course, wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Brilliant. Lewis Spence on the show tonight. Really good effort. Perhaps I need to get my questions out a little bit quicker, Mick.
I like. He's a character. He is. I have to remember him, and so when we next watch Parrock.
Plenty more to come on the show, as we said. Next up, we're going to preview the fixtures at the weekend, and we'll continue to talk about the way we consume football across non-league. We'll be back after this.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page One journey today with a free online health check by visiting PromoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Are you looking for a little bit more than a good meal at a pub? The Half Moon is a hidden gem located in the picturesque village of Charlwood on the Surrey-Sussex borders. Proud of old traditions, this old English pub offers tasty fresh food with locally sourced ingredients, comfortable dining and traditional bar area, as well as a lovely garden for your enjoyment. Evening with friends or lunch with family, whatever the occasion, you can expect our friendly and welcoming staff to help. Half Moon Charlwood. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming events and live music.
Need to refuel? Whether you're heading home or away, get ahead of the game and refuel at Dorking's Service Centre. Dorking's local retailer of quality BP fuel, Costa coffee and food to go. Find us at the traffic lights close to Dorking Halls or at dorkingservicecentre.com.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Head to backofthenetsouth.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the net, where it matters.
So welcome back to tonight's show. We're going to turn our attention to the fixtures at the weekend. Just to give you a little bit of an update, Lewis still 1-0 down to Carshalton Athletic. Jordan Cheadle scored after just 2 minutes and 39 minutes gone of the first half in that game. Plenty of fixtures to look forward to at the weekend. We start by looking at Brighton and Sea Regent against Thurrock in 16th position, and with 2 games in hand, Brighton and Sea are a threat for the visitors at Thurrock. The latter claims 13th place with 49 points, 7 points ahead of Brighton and Sea. Both sides have recently recovered from a poor run of form, and the hosts are unbeaten in their last 2 after 5 consecutive losses. The visitors have won their last 3, as we've established, and lost 2 before that. They didn't play Folkestone on Saturday. Intriguing game. We've seen both Brighton and Sea and Thurrock recently. Mick?
Yeah, Mr. Rothery's done really well at Brighton and Sea. They gave Dulwich a really good game when we covered them on back of the net a couple of weeks back. And obviously Thurrock, have impressed me. Good team spirit. Obviously Louis Spence, applaud him. You can see what type of team spirit he got just listening to what that guy said. And you can see why there's no frills or spills by Thurrock. I've watched them. They're all 8 out of 10 blokes that are all working hard together, and the manager it comes across really well as well. So I really hope someone comes in and takes that club over, because it'd be gut wrenching for that team to go out of the league, and how well the manager's doing. But from if you want a prediction, is this a prediction thing or just a view on that game?
Just a view on the game, really. You can make a prediction if you want to.
I think I will. I'll sit on the fence. I think it will be a draw, because I think they're both equalish in how they are as a team. Perhaps Brighton Sea maybe got a goal scorer in them, maybe, but I'll go 1-1.
These two teams have both come up, as we mentioned, and have held their own in a difficult division.
I seem to hear a lot about Brighton Sea Regent. I haven't seen either of the teams myself this year, but I've heard about teams that have played against them, and they seem to have grown into the division. It seemed to have got better and better week by week in the respect of the comments that I've heard. As I say, I haven't seen them myself visually, so it's very hard to comment. So, it'd probably be best to pass that over to you, Lee. So my prediction would be a draw. Let's go with that one.
Brighton Sea, a hard-working young team. Work hard for their manager. They're all at it for 90 minutes, if I'm being honest. And Thurrock, Thurrock put some good results together. Beat Tooting 4-1, was it, during last week. I would just say Brighton Sea at home might be a little bit stronger.
I just think they maybe got a goal scorer.
Well, I don't know, Mick, because they've scored 4 away to at home to Tooting last week, so it's not like they're not scoring goals. But yeah.
Fair point.
Going to be an interesting game. We move on to the north. Haringey Borough take on Heybridge Swifts. On paper, Haringey Borough have the upper hand in this clash, as they sit in 5th position with 64 points, level with 4th place Canvey Island. The side are unbeaten in their last 4 games, but they also face a tough opposition on decent form. Heybridge have won their last 3 matches and could extend their streak against Bury this evening. In 8th, the side may seem at the slight disadvantage, but they have 5 games in hand and only 9 points separate the 2 teams. Really close game between Haringey and Heybridge.
Well, did we not cover that game in the... did they not play each other in the FA Cup, was it?
We did cover that game, and Heybridge came out on top.
Yeah, they did, and it was a tight game, wasn't it, from memory? So, again, you know, I've been impressed with the Bostik North all round, if I'll be honest about it. I used to think that the Southern Division was way above what the Northern section was, and to me it just shows you how this level of football is progressing. The facts are, I think it's even Steven, and some are better than the South in the North, so they brought themselves up, so the standard of Bostik is brilliant. But I don't think the North section get enough plaudits for the type of football they play and what they are, and this season with our coverage I think people realise that North section is a lot stronger than what it ever was.
Yeah, it's going to be... We mentioned Heybridge earlier. They've really come on, and they're so close now. You'd expect them to kick on and get into the playoffs.
I've played both this season. Whiteleaf against Haringey in the trophy, and then Heybridge in the trophy with Kingstonian. At home, Haringey on the 3G, a dynamic, quick, powerful team. And then Heybridge, with Jodie's got a good team there. I know he lost 1 or 2 since I last played them. But it's a close game. I expect Heybridge to be in the playoffs, if I'm being honest. I think they've got enough games in hand and not too many points behind. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Mick? I think a draw.
Well, I think, I hate to say it because obviously I've got very friendly with Jodie and Heybridge Smith, but I fancy that Haringey owe Heybridge one for knocking them out of the FA Cup.
It's a tough place
I think you'll have them raised up. I think there's only going to be a goal in it, I feel.
Yeah.
But I just feel it might just go on this occasion with
And also, if you want to get yourself along to that game, I think, Mick, there was a car boot sale outside when we went last time, and it was a big one as well.
And there was police chasing people in the allotment behind. I wasn't there. I was more looking at that police car and some copper chasing some bloke in the allotment.
I wasn't going to mention that, but as you brought it up, yeah, that did happen on the afternoon as well.
We want to be real, don't we?
That's it. Corinthian Casuals against Cray Wanderers. There's a real game for you in the Bostik South. Corinthian Casuals, of course, flying high in second place with 81 points, and Cray Wanderers, as we talked about them earlier, in 4th position. Both teams go for those automatic promotion places. We did talk about them both earlier on, but that match-up, particular interest to this division, it's just such a mouth-watering tie.
I mean, you look at Corinthian Casuals, and we spoke about both this evening, winning their last 7 games, and then you look out for the blip that Cray have had, and then they've gone and won the last 2, going and beaten Whiteleaf, as you say, not a lot in the game, but what that would have done for momentum and confidence in the camp, going and beating them by 5-1, and then backing that up with a 4-3 win against Horsham. I think one thing Cray do is they score goals. One thing Corinthian do is they don't concede a lot of goals. And I think on Corinthian Casual surface, we played there on New Year, we really struggled to get any form of momentum or get the ball moving. And as we said about patterns of play earlier, Mick, we're having a conversation about the ability to go long and play short. Charlie McDonald gives them another dimension, Cray, and I think that will be a proper game of football. I think with Charlie, he makes those decisions whether to go long or go short, and he'll cause Corinthian problems. But then on the flip side, they're extremely organised. They don't concede a lot of goals, and you can see after winning the last 7 games that momentum's clearly with them. I hate to sit on the fence with this one, but I've got to say it's going to be a draw.
Yeah, I think all the people out there want us to actually call it either way, but that's how good we're talking about. 2 teams that are so equally matched in 2 different departments, i.e. defensively Corinthians and the attacking threat which Cray pose. But I think the one thing about Cray that rather lets them down, they're not playing on their home pitch, which is a nice flat AstroTurf. I'm not saying Corinthian Casuals pitch is isn't great, but I just feel that will swing it in Corinthians' favour. Again, it'll be a goal in it. You know, I could say either way, but on this occasion, I think I'll go Corinthian Casuals.
And Lee, one of those games, if you weren't involved in a game on Saturday, that you'd probably quite fancy going to watch.
Yeah, definitely. The quality players they've got in both groups is very good. I will go with Mick. I agree that if this was at Cray, then I would say it'd be a bit more open. But I just think Corinthian would be tough to beat at home. The way that he sets them up, Jamie, and they're used to playing on grass, and it'd be an advantage to them. Where Cray move it well on a 3G pitch, 4G pitch, whatever it is that over at Bromley. And am I right saying that Horsham, where they beat them 4-3, that's Horsham's a 3G, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think Corinthian would beat them.
Always like to throw a random fixture out there in the Evo Stick Premier Division. Marine take on Sutton Coldfield Town. It's a big game at the bottom of the division, 22nd playing 24th, and Sutton are 3 points behind Haleslow in Town in 23rd position. Only one team goes down, so it's a massive game for both clubs. 38 points Marine are on, 29 for Sutton Coldfield Town. It's really close in that division. It's always a random fixture that we like to throw out and that people can keep their eye on at the weekend. Marine against Sutton Coldfield Town. Know anything about those two teams, Mick?
That fixture's gone right over my head. It's gone straight to Lee there, who's Mr. Know-how of that southern area.
I'm going to go...
You're not allowed to use your iPhone now.
I'm going to cheat. Marine have a -13 and Sutton Coldfield have a -47. So I'll go with Marine.
Plenty to look forward to
Draw
at the weekend. And now we mention our game, the Bostik League show will be back for you on Sunday. It's Staines against Leiston in the Premier Division, the final game for us to look forward to at the weekend. And really looking forward to going to this one. You saw Leiston last week play against in their game, and they really tore Wingate and Finchley apart.
Well, Glenn Driver's done a really great job there. He's gained from Lowestoft to Myers in a way in getting Jake Reed there. What a great player he is up there, and that means that Mr. Blake has to sit on the bench. So it just shows you how much quality they've got in their side. They're big, strong, powerful. They can go long. They can pass the ball. I think they're the all-round outfit. I've not seen Staines until we covered them a few weeks ago. But they didn't have their two main strikers that day, so I've not really had a good look at Staines to see how quality they are at top and how they might create problems for Leiston in that game. Perhaps, obviously, Lee and Anthony might know a little bit more about Staines than what I do, just from those two players that they got up top, apparently, that are scoring goals for fun. They're both up in the top goal scoring reaches in the Bostik Prem. But I'm mightily impressed with Leiston, and I just fancy Leiston. I really do. I know it seems a strange thing that they go there. Whatever happens, I don't think they're going to lose points, whether that's a draw or whether they nick a win. But, Lee and Anthony might know a little bit more from Staines' perspective, because I just haven't seen Staines when they've got their two strike force players that are scoring goals.
I mean, I haven't seen an awful lot of them, to be honest, this year. As I said, I'm very focused on the South and what's going on in that division. But after speaking to Lee and speaking to him in the car on the way here about Staines, he was full of compliments and superlatives about the way they played, and also specific individuals, and spoke about, obviously, the momentum they're gaining and the style of play. I mean, it'd be good if you would talk about that a little bit more, because, I mean, you were full of compliments about them, weren't it?
Yeah, they played well. Central midfielder Wadan, I can't pronounce his surname, Amidi, what a player yesterday. From what I saw, he just stood out all over the park. I think he scored the fourth goal, and he had to do something to do it. Elliot Buchanan scored a great goal, like I said. Max, there's a few of them that are scoring goals, aren't there? You've obviously got Mohammed and Max Warsford, so there's four up there, Mick. They played 4-3-3 from what I saw yesterday, and they was very dynamic yesterday. But Leiston, I mean, they're a good team. I've played them twice, home and away, and they've got a couple of systems that they can play. So they're not one trick pony, from what I've seen, and they've got some good players, very good wingers there as well. So,
well, look, they're not overly blessed with loads of pace, so I'm not so sure. I would have thought maybe Staines will have a little bit of pace, which will obviously create problems a little bit for Wingate, because I wouldn't say like Wingate, sorry, I'm getting Leiston, let's remember that. not the quickest at the bat, I've got to say. So that could be a big threat for them. But when you look at who they got on the bench, Matt Blake, if you put him on, I rate that player so highly. And to be able to put him on the bench is like unbelievable. Shows you how strong that squad is. And Henderson is another fantastic player who was playing for Lowestoft last year. Strong box-to-box type player, wants the ball all the time. You know, as I say, it's a tough one for me to call because I ain't seen enough of Staines. Are you swinging Staines' way, or are you sitting on the fence?
It could go either way. Literally, it's two good teams.
Tune in for full live commentary, of course, through our website, backofthenetsouth.co.uk on Saturday afternoon, and the Bostik League show on Sunday. Plenty to look forward to at the weekend. Not only the feature game on the Bostik League show, but you've got Marine against Sutton Coldfield Town, and maybe even a police chase at Haringey. You never know. So all that across the weekend. Right, we've got more to talk about tonight. I'm going to play Who Am I in a moment or so, but I want to go back to our topic tonight, and we were looking at the way in which we consume football and across non-leagues. We touched a little bit on the TV debate. One of the things I wanted to ask you is about matchday programmes. Quite a few clubs now are actually putting their programmes online only and not printing them. Again, we go back to that idea of costs in non-league football. Is the programme something that's inherent in the culture of this country and will always be something that you'll see at a football match? Would it be a shame to not see it, or are we now thinking financial? Do we sell enough programmes? Is that something where you can make money from?
I mean, I was very fortunate as a young man to go and see a lot of games. With obviously my upbringing, which you're all aware of, and the first thing I used to do, and my granddad used to do for me, was buy me a programme. I never had £2.50 in my pocket when I was 9, unfortunately. But he used to buy me a programme, and then after you get your programme, you go and get your burger, didn't you? And you go and have your drink. You know, it's just a part of the game. I think it's so important. And first thing I do is when I get into a non-league game and go and watch it, I get a programme. I think it's so important to read a little bit about the club, learn about the club within the programme, see the team lineups, know a little bit about the players. It'd be an awful shame for me if there was no. I think that's part of football.
Well, I would agree with that, Andy, but I've got a view on it. I've looked at a few programmes from back in the net, going around a lot of these games. There's not enough content in them, what I'm seeing now. It's just loads of adverts. And that's the shame of it all. There ain't enough content in these programmes to what they used to be. And it's all down to, obviously, volunteers. It must be time-consuming, which Remy would know there, in putting all that content into that programme, having it printed off. But they're all things that you have to have at this level of football. But I do think that... I think the standard's going down personally. There are some clubs, even at Step 5, that are fantastic and put loads of content into it. But I think it's just going that they do it as a necessity because they have to do it. It's part of the league rule, and you'd be fine if you don't have a programme. But I just think the content's going downhill. But moving on from that, Ben, I think websites are massive. I think the website is everything now. Again, we talk about social media, but websites are where all of us go on many occasions to find out information before a game. So having a good website and easy for it to be directed around to find things that you want to find, particularly now I'm in the media game, I'm looking at websites quite a lot now, and to go on some of them, you think they're the most basic thing in the world, and you go on another one, you think, wow, how fantastic is that?
Yeah.
That consumption again, Lee, as we talked about on websites, is it something that you pay a lot of attention to, your own website?
I started on, our own website, not really, if I'm being honest. Got enough work to do. With social media, is the same. I literally go on Twitter to follow everyone else that's teams, managers, things like that, and just so I know what's going on when it happens, kind of thing, or when it's been released. But touching back on the programmes, I think it'd be a shame if we didn't have matchday programmes. I think it's part of the heritage of football. At all levels, if I'm being honest. I went to a Champions League game the other weekend at Wembley, and them programmes are just ridiculous. What you get there, it's just the quality is unbelievable. But then you go down to say there's certain Step 5 teams, and for the level that they're at, it's on a par. Yeah. As in, it's not as much stuff in them, but it's still the quality is there. Then you go to like Conference South and things like that, and it ain't. It's rubbish.
Are they too expensive across the game?
They do. I think clubs do lose money because if you go and get 50 or 100 or whatever you're getting per game, or if the higher you go, the more you get. There's some left, and so if you cover your cost, I think you've had a result really. But 9 times out of 10, I think it's just another overhead. And again, like you say, getting someone to put the content in there. It's hard. It's so hard, yeah.
Well, it's worth it if you've got the content in there. It's not worth it paying the money if you've only got a load of adverts. So that's how I see it.
I think there's 2 points there, important points. You spoke about covering costs. I think it's important. Obviously, number one, when you're selling programs, it shouldn't be that of a profitable one. I think it should be one of those things that goes to show what your football club's about, and obviously the history, and also the pride that you take within it. I definitely think if I'm to critique my own football club at Walton, I think, and I'm the first one to say this, our programmes need to be better. I know you were at our ground the other day, Mick, for the Guernsey game, and I'll be quick to say when things are very good at our club, but I'll also say when things need to be better, and I'll definitely say in the respect of our programme it does, and it's from every detail, from top to bottom, to juniors to programmes. So it's so important that everything is taken equally, or with equal importance, I think, in order to get your credibility of your football club up.
One final thing that I want to look at this disillusionment that fans might have on Premier League and Championship football. Is that what is driving fans to perhaps, you mentioned, Lee, time and time again tonight about the quality of football? That's obviously really important. Is it really making fans aware that the quality of football and the accessibility is there at non-league level, so they can, if they're grow up as a big Tottenham fan or an Arsenal fan, perhaps not going to the games, that they can go and watch Haringey Borough, because the way they ping the ball around, coining a phrase that you used, on the 3G is really decent, and you can't get a ticket to see Tottenham, and perhaps they're being priced out, but you can go and watch Haringey Borough.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think most games these day and age in the Premier League and the Championship is on telly, so these kids are always going to be able to watch their teams live in their own home. But to go and experience what we're speaking about, good football and improving all the time, and the quality of player that's dropping down into non-league is getting better all the time. So it's a good spectacle for these kids to come and watch some of these boys. I mean, you look at the Premier League, how many British players are in the Premier League? I know there's so many foreigners, so there's a quality of English player or British player that's dropping down, and it's having that effect, a ripple effect, that is coming back down into non-league. And you look at the National League, it's not far. I think nearly 95% of teams in there are all full time. So it's there's not a massive jump anymore between the National and League Two. Look at Danny Cowley at Lincoln, up in the playoffs, straight out of the National and straight up there. So
to be fair, I mean, my class of non-league football is from the Bostik League down. I don't really class the National League, and certain parts of the Conference South, I'd say, come into that equation a little bit. But when you talk non-league football, I talk of it from Bostik down. I just think the two National League divisions are almost on par with the how can I put it, League Two, or around that section. And if you took the bottom half of the Conference South and you just put that in with us, and you took the top end, and they're just different for me.
Are we in danger then? Because I guess you're alluding to the ticket prices and different things that go on at the National League. They've done well to brand that, and obviously BT Sport cover that now. Are we in danger of pricing out fans at all levels if we're not careful, and if we follow suit at Bostik level, that we're perhaps ticket prices and...
I don't know what ticket prices are in the National, but in the National South, there's not much between that and the Bostik Premier. And if I'm being honest, the accessibility of speaking to players and getting extra players is the same as the Bostik Premier. I've been in that league, having Waterloovilles, the Hamptons, Churros. I've been to these grounds, and it's on a par. Bostik League is not far away, as we say. I know it's one step, but in the setups of clubs and things, it's not far at all. So
we saw today the announcement of the England squad that many people had an opinion on. And I think whatever level of the game that you manage and you play at, and you're a supporter of, you always look at the national side as being the holy grail, perhaps. And although people probably not that confident ahead of the summer, the disillusionment, and I mentioned this word quite a few times, of the England squad and the opinions that went round when it was announced, is that again another driving force towards people talking about real football, real non-league football, honest
Well, Gareth Southgate has come from that type of background. So, you know, he's a grounded type of guy. He's not everyone's cup of tea. They probably put him into like a non-confrontational type of bloke, very clever with the media and what have you. But from my perspective, he has been a grounded guy. I think he come through Palace as a youngster, from that neck of the woods anyway. But he's also played non-league, I think, at some point. And he gets himself around. He knows about the non-league area. And I think that's made him an all-round grounded person to be England manager. And probably that's why the team is what the team is.
Yeah, we've got to mention Nick Pope, who's come from the Bostik North and now plays with Burnley, and he's got an England call-up. So that's a fantastic feature for us, non-league level.
I mean, it's fantastic credit to him, and I mean, I looked at Gareth's squad earlier, and I like the identity that we've gone with. Personally, I like the fact that we're going with young players. I like the fact that we're trying to breed young players, and I think Germany adopted that policy. If you look 5 years back, they had very good success at 18s, 19s, 21s, and these young players have had experience in playing in competitions, extra times, penalty shootouts, intense situations in front of crowds, and then they get bedded into the national side, of which they've already experienced that in competitions. I think that sometimes we're guilty of jumping these players straight away from 17 straight into the senior squad, of which they haven't experienced those situations. And we spoke earlier, Lee, just about Premier League players that you've had on loan. They haven't experienced that situation before. They haven't been in that type of environment. And I personally am all for what Gareth's trying to do, because I think he's brave. What Mick said as well, he's grounded. I think he's extremely level-headed, and he's shown extreme bravery with his kids, because I think that if that's what the FA is going to go with, I'll back him 100%.
Do you not think that these youngsters will play with no fear? Because sometimes I feel some senior people play with that little bit of conservativity and, you know, let's just keep the game tight. I from my perspective as a watching supporter, I want us to be expressive. I want us to be playing without fear. I want us to take people on. I want us to take the game rather than us fear the opposition, which is what we've done over the many years.
Final word on that. I'll let you have it. It's a decent looking young squad, isn't it?
Yeah, we got to remember is Gareth Southgate, he done the 23s, so he's got that experience with a lot of these players. He's had them in them competitions, so he knows what they're about. And to be fair, I mean, who else was we going to bring in? We're going to bring someone else. Give him a chance. Let him try this way. We haven't tried it for a long time. I played Beckham, that era where there was all young Man United players. So let him have a go. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, best of luck to England over the next couple of games against Holland and Italy, and of course to Nick Pope, who's come from the Bostik North. We'll keep an eye out, and hopefully he'll get a cap over the next week. Right, to end the show tonight, we did promise we were going to play Who Am I? We brought it back last week. I would say it was successful, other than the fact that Adam was here and he guessed a couple of them straight away. I'm going to give you some information about a player, where he's born, the year that he was born, the clubs that he played at, the appearances and the goals. And at any point, all you need to do is just say your name and come in with a guess.
Is it a non-league player?
Might well be, Mick. You never know. So just everyone happy with Who Am I?
Hands raised when we know, or is
just say your name and we'll let you come in. You can come in at any point. This time last week, Adam, who runs our social media with Remy, he came in, I think, after I said where they were born, and it kind of spoilt the game a little bit. We're hoping for more today. Adam's not here. Okay, first off tonight, I was born on the 22nd of November in 1989. I was born in Greenwich in England. I started my youth career with Walderslade Boyds and Lordswood. I also played my youth career with Millwall.
Not Ian Wright.
And Maidstone United. You need to say your name when you come in with an answer.
Lee.
Chris Smalling.
Lee, I'll take you first.
Ian Wright.
It's not Ian Wright. You've got to say your name.
Chris Smalling.
Correct.
Got to say your name.
Oh, yeah.
Got to say your name.
Andy Gale.
Sorry, we don't know who the hell you are, mate. So
just say Mick, Anthony or Lee. Anthony, I'll give you that. Chris Smalling. He went on to play for Maidstone United in his senior career. He also played for Fulham, Manchester United, and of course England as well. Started in non-league. Chris Smalling. Okay, next up on Who Am I Tonight? I was born on the 11th of January in 1987. I was born in Sheffield in England, and I started my youth career with Sheffield Wednesday. I also went on to play my youth career with Stocksbridge Park Steels. I started
Jamie Vardy. Anthony, Jamie Vardy. Oh, no.
I was going to say that.
Anthony, Jamie Vardy.
Said your name, mate.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hey,
do we give it to Anthony?
Yeah.
No, you can't. He never said his name. I was going to say that.
You were.
Funny fun.
There you go. So that's 2 out of 2. I'm making up for the 1 out of 2.
I'll tell you.
Okay, with this one, I'm only going to accept it if names come in first.
Here,
it's like a buzzer.
No pressure, Mick.
Anthony stealing away. Last one tonight.
Sorry, Ben.
On Who Am I? I was born on the 7th of November in 1978 in Camberwell in England, and I started my youth career in 1992 with West Ham United. My senior career was also with West Ham United. 1995 I started that. 127 appearances and 2 goals. After a loan spell with Bournemouth in 2002, I joined Leeds United.
I was going to say Jermaine Defoe. Jermaine Defoe
is wrong.
Lee. Mark Noble
is wrong. I'll continue. In 2002, I joined Leeds United. 54 appearances and 2 goals.
Lee Bowyer
is incorrect. Okay, if you give an incorrect answer, Mick, it's going to be up to you now.
Anthony.
Could be
Anthony.
No, you've already given an incorrect answer. Can't go again. That's it. That's the rules.
You might not get a guess out of me. That's why you've got to let them in a little bit.
Let's see if Mick gets this one.
No, it's unfair.
After Leeds United, I went to play in 2002 for Manchester United.
Anthony.
312 appearances and 7 goals.
Anthony.
I went on to play for Queen's Park Rangers and I also played for England.
Anthony, you've got to know this, man.
No, I don't.
Rio Ferdinand
is correct. That's it on Who Am I Tonight?
3 out of 3. Come on.
So there we go. Anthony Gale is tonight's winner on Who Am I? Although didn't quite stick to the rules, but it's fine. We'll give you that one. Listen, thank you ever so much for joining us tonight, Mick, Lee and Anthony. Thoroughly enjoyed your company. Plenty more to come across the week from us. Of course, you can get the podcast on iTunes Store from Friday at 7 o'clock. And we're back with the Bostik League show across the weekend. Live commentary on Saturday afternoon, backofthenet.south.co.uk. And on Sunday, Bostik League show, just search Back of the Net on YouTube for full highlights of Staines against Leiston. It's going to be a good one. And plenty of other goals from across the Bostik Premier Division as well. We're also back with a radio show next week from 7 o'clock. We'll see you then.
Have your say. Get in touch on social media. Just search official BOTN.